You know,
Look at this big old coffee cup.
see that? That's nice. That's
Man,
bougie.
it's close to big as my head. You know that's big.
That's bougie.
That's a lot of coffee. It's from that Alawine Pottery Company. It don't mean nothing to me. It means something to the women.
Okay, cool. I mean, San Francisco 49ers.
So, are you excited that today is Johnny Damon Day?
Well, if he was still playing, I would be. But since he's not, I've moved on.
You know, you remember back in the day, I always would say that Boston was my American League team just to tick you off. But then they ended up being, because I love Nomar Garcia-Parra and I love Kari Yastrzemski way back when I was a kid. And then when Johnny Damon started playing for Boston, man, I was all in. And then I remember almost like it was yesterday. It was 06. We were at First Baptist Southside, and that's when they signed Johnny Damon to No, that's not true. We're on the Southside. I was in North Carolina. Yeah, I was in North Carolina, and I text you.
Yeah.
Mad as a mug.
I was happy. That's neither here nor there on this Alabama-Auburn Thursday.
I know, but, it's Johnny Damon Day for you guys.
Okay. At least we're still not paying him. Unlike the Mets and Bonilla.
Golly. He's still making that money.
Ain't mad at him.
And by the way, you don't hear from him, do you?
Why would you?
I mean, he's making that money, son. Doesn't matter. So Alabama got the crap kicked out of them last night.
Did they?
See, you say that. You say that. Tell me about the beef. What was the beef?
Well, it's Alabama-Auburn beef. They're going to beef about anything, right? But the fact that a lot of the Alabama fans and people in the media were saying that, kept calling Auburn's gym a high school gym. It's pretty funny. And, of course, Auburn calls it the jungle. And then the Auburn people hit back with, yeah, maybe a high school gym, but at least our lights work. Maybe you guys should work on that. Which is hilarious, man. Going at it.
Alabama can drop 20 on you in about a 4 to 5 minute run, right? I mean, they're that good. They can drop that many points on you. And I was listening to the game when we left church last night. By the way, that's the reason Rick Neal ran out of church so fast, is to get home and watch the game.
I thought Miss Nancy just called up the Holy Spirit in class. Oh, I thought he had to run to let him know.
Yeah, he cut out, man. But anyway, I cut it on and was listening to it and almost got in trouble at dinner because I'm trying to Wednesday night. It's always about my wife and my kids. And so I cut it on real low on my phone, and try to listen in. And I almost got in trouble. But the announcers kept saying, this is Alabama announcers, right? So I'm listening to Alabama Radio Network. And they kept saying, Alabama can score points really fast. It was like they were trying to will it into existence. And it just never happened.
Auburn called the dogs off. They could have hung a hundo on them for sure.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I agree.
And they didn't. But this Auburn team, defensively, if you can't play defense to Pearl's level, you're not getting on the court. All the offensive stuff was set up because of their defensive prowess, the block shots, the rebounding, and they shot 50 free throws, to be fair. 50.
God, that's a lot of hatcheting, as we used to say at Carnes Rec.
And that was straight Shaquille O'Neal in them, son. Just, damn.
I mean, they have so much fouling, man.
I guess both Alabama and Auburn are now 8-2 in SEC play. A lot of basketball left, but what a great rival. I mean, it's great to see.
It really is fun. And people wonder why Alabama and Auburn are such a big deal. That's why. It's every sport. It's not just football. It's basketball, baseball, gymnastics, golf. I mean, everything. Everything that they do is a huge rivalry, and they make it fun. And the trash talking's awesome. But really, truthfully, if you look at it, there's not a whole lot of violence unless you talk about poisoning trees and crap like that. I'm talking. Sorry, my bad. I had to, man. Right?
There's an arborist who ran off the road right just when you said that, Jeff. So
my bad, man.
Look, there were no trees harmed in the making of the show.
That's right. That's right. But the rivalry really is fun. I mean, it at times gets on mine and your nerves because fans that are over the top to the point that here's what I hate. And I think you could probably echo this, is fans that really don't know anything, but they just know they like their team, right? I used to say this about my father-in-law, my wife's stepdad that's going on to heaven. And you knew Lee very well. Y'all were very close. And one thing that we could rest assured on a Sunday morning after any about Alabama, Auburn, no matter what sport it was, he was going to talk about how terrible Alabama was if they lost and how everybody needs to be fired, or how great Alabama is and everybody needs an extension contract, right? So those are the types of fans that get on your nerves, even though we missed that one specifically.
No doubt, man. Lee is incredible. He loved the Tide, man. He loved the Tide. He was Willie before there was Willie.
Man, and what about Willie? If we're getting into it, let's just get into it. I think Willie for sure is the reason that Ryan Williams signed and committed back to Alabama.
It didn't hurt. It didn't hurt.
Did you see him? Did you see?
But the Tide.
Did you see him in Saraland at the signing?
Yeah, man. And you talk about a program. Saraland is doing the dang thing, doing it.
So, Mr. Football, we can attribute Mr. Football coming back to Alabama, commit, decommit, coming back to commit, signed a letter of intent yesterday. Was it yesterday? Yeah, yesterday. And
let's be fair. It was about the check that Mr. Williams received.
Oh, okay. Look, I'm going to give it to Roll Tide Willie.
Okay.
The check be darned. It's coming one way or the other. Mr. Football is getting that. But Roll Tide Willie, to have him by your side at Saraland signing, that did it for me. I'd sign with Notre Dame if Roll Tide Willie was there.
He can't get in, even as a fan. What in the Jack Justice are you talking about?
Oh, my God. But how cool was that? I thought that was cool.
Yeah, no, I love watching the videos, man. It cracks me up. He gets so upset. But in the last couple of videos I saw, he had shoes on, so that's good.
He did. Okay, so he's got teeth. His hair's like he likes it. He's got good hair.
Doing it.
Which is surprising, right?
Is he sponsored by the ABC store?
I don't think they do sponsoring. It's going to have to be a local liquor store somewhere around there. That's awesome. God.
Is drinking it, man. Woo. So what else is going on in the
yesterday though?
Was that?
I don't think he was too drunk yesterday.
Who could tell? I mean, I don't know. So what are you excited about from your signing class, right? I know that finish in the top 3 again.
Some play 2, right?
Oh yeah, I mean, there's 4 different rating systems, so it's you guys are always going to be top 3. When we look at recruiting now, it's always Alabama, Georgia, Ohio State.
Yeah.
Those 3, the top 3, regardless. But of course, my issue is ranking the classes now. You have no idea how good these kids really are. Let's look 4 or 5 years down the road, look back. That's how I like to rank classes.
Yeah.
these star players, 4-star, 5-star, whatever. I like looking at something different. I look at the measurables. A lot of the 5-star kids, man, I get it. I understand they put the work in. They're athletically superior. So it's good to get those kids. But if you really look at how a class is, you have to wait 3-4 years down the road and look back. But you're getting the best players that you could possibly get.
Yeah, I agree. If you go back to years ago, now, by the way, I will say this. I'll preface it with this. Saban is the reason, not for the season, but he's the reason that this recruiting class is where it's at for Alabama. Let's just be honest. And you got to give it to DeBoer for kind of hanging on to some of these recruits, going back into the decommits and some of those guys that said, I'm not certain, going in and kind of winning them over, right? But it all went back to, in my opinion, I was watching some things what's today? Thursday? Alabama Auburn Day. So maybe Sunday night, I was looking at some things, and it kind of all went back to when Alabama and Saban secured Julio Jones. That's when they said, okay, Alabama's for real on this recruiting trail. They're seeing talent as for it is. And I think that probably goes to QB Reese, right? Big sign, right? Big keep. He's 6 foot, 210 pounds. From everything that I've read, this kid plays way bigger than the 6 foot 210, right? So I think maybe I attribute the QB Reese signing to a Julio. Not to a Julio Top Jones signing. They see who he really is. You are talking about measurables, right? I think maybe he's that kid that fits into the analytics that you talk about, the things that you hang on to. I'm really excited about QB Reese.
Man, I've watched a couple hours of film on him over the past month or so. Dude's a ball player.
Yeah.
Dude is a baller. There's no question. And you guys are reloading. That's what Bama does, right? They reload 100%. You kind of get who you want. And I don't think things are going to drop, because I think this coaching staff, the offense that you're going to put in place, more importantly, the biggest thing you did is you kept Grubb as your OC.
Yes. Yeah, you're right. I was going to say that Ryan Grubb said, I'm not going to give in to the offers from Seattle or these NFL teams that are going after him. And he said, look, I am committed. Alabama even went after him, 2 years ago? They wanted him as OC, and finally his man is at Alabama, and he's there, and he said, hey, I'm staying. And it may be that he wants an NFL job, right? And as far as a head coaching job, or he wants a Power 5, Power 4, whatever you want to call him, head coaching job. So maybe this solidifies him if he comes to Alabama for a year or 2 years and does a bang-up job, which I think he's going to do with everybody he's surrounding himself with at Alabama as far as talent-wise. That may be the reason, but thank goodness that Ryan decided to stay at Alabama.
But you guys brought in some kids from Washington, right, that wanted to play for those two. And, heck, to be truthful, there may be more talent on Alabama than the Seahawks at this point.
And that could have played into it as well.
But he's you got to say something about his loyalty, right? Yeah. He decided, he showed some integrity. No, I decided to come over here with you. I'm not going to turn around and just leave. And that's rare right now in college coaching and players.
Yeah, I agree. And just a side note real quick before I get into the last one I want to talk about. What about Nick Saban going to College Game Day? You and I called that in the middle of the year when they were. What game was it? Was it the Tennessee game? They were in Alabama or Tennessee.
I remember.
And whatever game it was, they were there somewhere, and Saban came on, and we talked about how good of a fit. We know Coach is on his way out. He's just not health-wise. It's failing him. He's not able to do that. So he'll be kind of a special certain game kick in and those types of things. Like COVID, when COVID was there, he would he would phone in something, right, scripted. I think Saban is going to do pretty well on that. I think that's a good fit. You and I called that. His personality's got to step up a little bit. I mean, but maybe it will, right? I mean, he's
well, if he calls from Pat McAfee, they'll even each other out, maybe.
Dude, and you talking about somebody to say whatever he wants to say. So now you got two guys that will say whatever in the world they want to say, and they don't need you to be okay with it.
Don't care. Don't care. But he's also, I'm excited more. Yeah, I mean, I love college game. This is the first year that I'm able to watch College Game Day, right? I really, really enjoy being able to, my Saturdays were getting up, vacuuming, doing some cleaning, preparing, and getting the menu right, and watching College Game Day, man. I enjoyed that. Most people take that for granted, but for my business, over past how many years is you work on Saturdays. You don't get the privilege of being able to watch college football very much and game day. So I was really enjoyed it, and I'm a big McAfee fan.
Yeah, me too. Yeah.
Smart. So, but what I'm more excited about is Saban sitting in with the NFL draft process, right? That's going to be he's always done something here, something there, but for him to be there, that's like a circled event in my house. I love the draft. I love stuff that goes in the draft. I'm big time into it. I normally do a mock draft myself. So to get his insight on these players during that draft process is going to be pretty exciting.
Yeah, what was it? 3 years ago, you came over and we watched the first round. And then you're like, okay, I'm out. I got to do the rest myself. And it was about all you could take, because we got the kids and Kelly and Ellie around here and food. But look, everybody kind of accepts. Everybody kind of knows the first round, right? And so, but man,
but there's always, in theory, that's true, but always surprises.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. There's the Ryan Leaf picks, right?
There is.
Back then, did you?
Huh?
You didn't like the Ryan Leaf pick back in the day.
I was Team Peyton Manning.
I know.
Yeah, I was. So that made Indy made the great choice with Peyton Manning.
Yes.
So let's talk a little bit of Auburn now for a second.
Oh, finish one pick real quick. Noah Carter signed his letter of intent. This athlete plays both sides of the ball, right? But if you look, when he lines up at tight end, the dude is a hoss. So don't count Noah Carter out.
Where's he from?
I do not know. I can't remember. I didn't write that down. I just put his name down on my note card because I don't have my computer with me today, and you're using my phone for Skype. So I don't know. Maybe I don't know. Crap.
Let me look him up.
Look him up real quick. I remember seeing the film I say film, the stuff that we could see the film. I guess it's still film on the internet. And the dude he's a ball player, man. He can deliver hits. He can read the plays. But then on the offensive side, when he lines up a tight end, the guy's a ball player, man. I mean, this kid's a boss. So the letter of intent is huge. And so in my opinion, as you're finding out where he's from, I think Coach DeBoer, he got it done.
He's from Phoenix. Phoenix, Arizona. Yeah. So he was probably going to go to Washington before the hire, but he's not going to play tight end in college. He's a big edge rusher. They got him listed as 6'3.5", 218 on 24/7. 4-star rated 96. Man, close. I mean, he's close enough to a 5-star, really.
But what if you stack him, right? You put your tight end on one side, you pull him in on the opposite side of the ball on the other. You bump him in. That's a heck of a combination right there.
Yeah, he is going to be an edge rusher. He's going to put pressure on the QB for sure.
Yeah. So you like that pickup?
Oh, great pickup, no doubt. Everybody and their mother offered. Yeah, because he had a huge offer list. Louisville, Washington, Arizona State, Colorado State, blah, 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 nobody, Oregon State, Texas, Washington, a lot of teams out there, Oregon. He was going to stay out there. You guys can thank DeBoer,
Yeah.
right, for bringing this kid in.
Absolutely. So anyway, sorry about that. I got ahead of myself on the Saban game day analyst deal. So anyway, what's going on with AU?
Well, I think that they made a huge stride this year. Right, I think Freeze they're taking they're tossing the keys, which hasn't happened since the Pat Dye days. Really, they're letting Freeze hire his own people, bring in his own staff. As we witnessed, he let Carnell go, Aldridge go. He's making his choices, and this coaching staff is elite at this point. They have to gel, but he has assembled an elite coaching staff.
Right.
Very good. And they had a good class, man. They're a top 10 class. I've seen them as high as number 7. They're doing, and the 25 class they're working on is looking pretty strong as too. But again, impactful players. Let me say this. Cam Coleman, he's everything, wide receiver, tops in the state, number 2 in the country. Obviously, you want to, if you're an offensive guy, why would you not want to play for Freeze? Going to throw the football, right? I still go back to when they get Perry Thompson in, who is incredibly raw. He doesn't run good routes. Don't know if he understands exactly how to be a wide receiver at this point, because he hasn't had to be like that at Foley. He just was so big and could jump and great hands. I would be okay right now, day one, line him up in the red zone, match him, just throw it to the pile, let him go get it. We call them, in the broadcast world, Jeff, we call them the 50-50 balls.
Yeah. Yeah.
But that dude, it's more of a 70-30 because he just gets them, right? So some big things there. But if we're going to talk about the Auburn season, we can go name some of these kids. Walker White needs an opportunity, man. The kid should be a 5-star. He's incredible. No bias there on my part at all. Williams, another edge rusher that's actually more highly rated than the kid from Arizona from Alabama.
60 kid, and he's the 6'2", 260 kid that's highly 5-star athlete. That's
absolutely right. Yeah, number 2 in the state, number 5 in the country. Yeah. Just incredible. For Auburn to be successful this year. And we'll do just a total recruiting breakdown. We'll do another show about that. I'll do a side video player by player breakdown if you want. But looking ahead, because why not? Why not look ahead to the season? And I've not broken down Auburn ever like I am now, right? I've never done that. It's all Notre Dame all day, every day for me, and still is. But I'm diving into Auburn as well. For them to be successful, in my opinion, Thorpe is your quarterback, right? I mean, what's which quarterback's name? I forget. Peyton, not your quarterback.
No.
Not your quarterback. He's not. Robbie Ashford left. The most important thing your quarterback needs to do in a huge free offense is be able to throw the ball.
Right.
And he hasn't proven that he can throw the ball with success day in and day out. Thorne, he flashes at times. I just don't think Auburn can have the kind of season they want with him a quarterback.
Right.
I know a lot of these purist Auburn fans may be throwing stuff at the screen right now, but I don't think it can happen. Got talent on the outside of wide receiver. You bring in a starter, maybe 2 at wide receiver. Your running game is going to be strong. And looking at the schedule, I think they have a very manageable schedule this year. I really do. They should sleepwalk through the first 4 games, even though that fourth game is Arkansas. Well, you open up Alabama A&M, you got Cal, New Mexico, which you know how that went last year. They won't be sleeping on them this year, and Arkansas. So Auburn should be 4-0 going into the game at home. I think the game's at home against Oklahoma.
What about the kid Perry Thompson from Foley?
That's the kid I was talking
about. Immediate impact, right? You talked about him. He's a 6'3", almost 6'4", 210-pound guy that can go up and get the ball. I mean, that kid, he makes an immediate impact, right, on your offensive side.
Well, that's the kid I was talking about, just throwing the ball in the corner of the pylon. That's him. He's very raw. He has to learn the game of football. He has to learn how to run routes and understand a route tree and concepts and things like that. As far as an athlete, man, he'll go up and get the ball. He makes plays.
But do you pound the ball inside on these short routes to somebody that big like him? It's like having another tight end out there, right?
It is, but don't force the ball when you got Cam Coleman.
I get that. But you know what's going to happen with him.
6'3". He's just 180. But I think Perry should be a 5-star rated kid.
Yeah.
That not played against tough competition, really. They don't play the best football down there in Foley. No fault to them. You can't help what region you're in, that kind of stuff, right? No disrespect there. But I think the kid's going to be special. That's the kid I circled of everyone they signed. Our very first show, This kid, Perry Thompson, and the way he grew up, right? If you go watch a ESPN little, not a 30 for 30, but they did a segment on this kid, how he grew up, didn't have a lot of anything.
Yeah.
It'll break your heart. And the fact that he just fits at Auburn. He wants to be at Auburn. He fits at Auburn. They're going to love him, and he's going to make big plays. And I think he's going to end up being a NFL first-round draft pick.
Do you think that with the NIL deals that are going on now, right? And I heard somebody, I think it was Coach Prime, that mentioned that there are NIL deals, but there are also, the top 2 or 3% that get the real money. There are guys out there that are signed some deals for some local mom and pops that are making ends meet, right? Paying a little bills and eating a little bit, being able to maybe get a car or something like that, some rims, he even said rims, but one thing that worries me with somebody like this young man that has every ability in the world, when the money is thrown at him like it's going to be thrown at him. Do you think it benefits Auburn and him, especially Thompson, to have somebody like Coach Freeze that has seen everything, done everything, and now has some balance to mentor him through this process?
The problem is we're in a new era, Jeff, where people haven't seen this. They haven't seen what's happening other than NFL. But I know a couple colleges. I talked to a lot of college coaches and during my week, and there's a few colleges I won't name because I was asked not to, that are actually employing financial specialists, kind of off the record. And hey, here's what you do with your money. Here's how you should. But for a kid who has nothing, and all of a sudden you got a bag of cash for $50,000.
Right.
Sorry, other fans. I didn't mean to say bag of cash.
Bag.
You know what I meant. You keep McDonald's out of this.
Yeah, I mean Burger King. My bad.
So there's some of that. What you do now that you have means, but here's the things: you still got to make plays. You still got to get the grades. Because if you don't do what you're supposed to do educationally, you're not going to play.
Yeah.
And again, Perry Thompson, man, I want him to be successful. I want him to do it.
Me too.
But looking at the recruits, where I think where the Tigers, I'm not going to say drop the ball because, they don't need me telling them, but they didn't do a great job recruiting offensive linemen in this class. The top program, offensive line, defensive line is what you do, right? And they got some defensive line help, but they did not really address the offensive line.
Did they lose? Was it 2 offensive linemen?
Maybe 3. One that rotated in, didn't get a lot of playing time, but was a good quality piece. So
a need that they did need to recruit this class. But you think, let's develop these guys, but
there's still an opportunity because after spring ball, right, in the spring, that opens up the portal again. So you can certainly go out and do that. But from a high school level, but Freeze doesn't really go do a lot in the portal. Going to have to change, like Dabo Sweeney. It's going to have to change, right? Going to have to be successful. Right. They got the Edward kid from McDonough, Georgia, almost 6'7", 300 pounds, listed as a 3-star. Man, the kid's huge. And they got a kid from JUCO, offensive tackle, 6'6", 295, which also very big. And a kid out of California for a guard center position is pretty good. So offensive tackle on the transfer portal, they got a kid from Mississippi State. He's 6'8", 350. Let that sink in. 6'8", 350. So yeah, I think line may need to be addressed, and they may be doing that in the 25 class. I really haven't taken a deep dive into 25. I know that we had a situation where a kid from CJ May from Highland Home, who I've been talking about him for a while, he was committed to.
I said, you mean church? Never mind. Sorry.
CJ May has been since September committed to Notre Dame out of Highland Home. A very good athlete. One thing that Notre Dame does is they get very upset once you're committed to them taking official visits. So it's kind of an unwritten rule in Notre Dame. Once you commit to them, if you take official visits, they don't consider you as committed, right? And so CJ May and Marcus Freeman decided it was a mutual that they parted ways. So, and every indication is pointing that May is going to end up with Auburn, which makes sense to me. One of his best friends plays at Highland Home. Another guy is already committed there. This is an edge. So both edge rushers at Highland Home, CJ May and Faulkner, I think are going to end up at Auburn in the 25 class, which is very, very strong. Auburn is working on 3. So far out of their commitments on the 25 class, man, it's defensive line, edge rusher, defensive line, a couple tight ends, and an O-line. So I think Freeze is building it the right way, and wouldn't surprise me if Auburn gets another top 5 class in the 25 class.
Wow. Good stuff, man. I love it. Alabama, Auburn, good stuff. Lots of stuff that's going to be pouring in. When normally it used to be in black and white media, it was football season, baseball season, this season, that season, basketball season. Now it's football season all year round with this transfer portal and recruiting. It's a year-round sport, man. It's like the NFL. You're looking at it's crazy, but it's super fun. I mean,
we'll be talking about the combine coming up, so we'll do our breakdown of how the Alabama and Auburn kids do at the combine. Some of them will choose not to go. Most of them will. So that's always. I love watching that kind of stuff. I'm sick with it. Sick.
I know.
Sick.
You got the fever.
Dude, man, got that dog in me, or tiger as it is.
Well, thanks everybody for joining us on this episode. I think it's episode 3 of the Alabama Auburn show here on Kapow. We're so fired up about it. Everything going on. We're eat up with it. And to get Jerry eat up with to being an Auburn guy and even he's an Alabama guy, closet Alabama guy. Okay, he's an Irish guy. You're going to keep that over us all the time, aren't you? By the way, the hat's legit.
Oh, thank you, man.
Yeah. Yes.
I've had this hat for 2 years and may have worn it once.
It's because you've lost 47 pounds now. As of yesterday, you're down to 44. So 147 pounds. Is that right? Yeah, 4, 5.
My head's still.
Huh?
You got a fat head, so it's good.
No, you're able to wear hats that you ain't been able to wear.
That's true. That's
awesome. All right, so join us next Thursday. We'll come back and get all kinds of information for you. Who knows? With Alabama and Auburn, there's always going to be something happening recruiting wise. There's going to be just news all the time with Alabama and Auburn. So we're so excited that you guys joined us this time. J-Dub, any last words, bro?
No, man, y'all have a great week. Kapow, we're going to have some good episodes of Kapow next week. Are we doing a show tomorrow? I'm not sure. I'm not sure yet.
I don't know. We never know. Let's just be honest. When somebody says, hey, Jay, I'm there, you say, okay, let's go.
Do it. So. That's fun. You have a great week, everybody.
All right, my man.